Hello, friends. So today we are going to master reason assertion questions, which is highly recommended by National Curriculum Framework 2023, and this comes under domain 3. So let's see. We are going to understand how to create assertion reason questions. What is the purpose behind framing these reason assertion questions? How do they test conceptual clarity and logical reasoning? We'll also try and understand the difference between knowledge recall and reasoning based evaluation. We'll also have a lab activity where we are going to learn how to frame questions. So let's go ahead. What is assertion? What is actually assertion in this assertion reason questions? It is a statement that expresses an idea, an observation, or a claim. It can be true, it can be false, depending on the content and how we want to test the student. What concept we want to check on the student. So here is an example given. The earth revolves around the sun. This is the assertion, and we know this is a fact and it is true. Now, talking about the reason, what is a reason? Reason is an explanation or a justification provided to explain the assertion. It helps us to understand the statement given in the assertion, whether it is true, whether it is false. Like for the example which we have just seen, the assertion which was just seen before, the reason given here is because the sun exerts gravitational force on the earth. And we know this is also true and it correctly explains the assertion. So now let's see how the assertion reason questions work. These questions, they test the logical reasoning and the critical thinking. Like we were talking about the reason for the previous question and the assertion. So here the evaluation, or you can say the testing, is based on whether the assertion is correct, whether the reason is correct, whether the reason correctly is able to explain the assertion. So now the typical answers which are being provided to the students in most of the exams, like most of the competitive exams, are the first option will be both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. This is the second option. Now comes the third, that is A is true, but R is false. And fourth option we have, that is A is false, but R is true. So now let's understand the anatomy or the structure of reason assertion questions. Like assertion is the factual statement, right? And the reason is possible explanation. Options, as we have just understood, but the care which the teacher needs to take, or the teacher should ensure that assertion is clear, concise, and grade appropriate. This is very important to when we are framing the assertion, when we are framing the reason, when we are framing the complete question structure. We have to keep in mind always the grade, the students whom we are actually framing the questions for. Then comes the reason. that reason is logically connected or maybe disconnected, which has been actually done deliberately to test the critical thinking, the logical reasoning of the child, how much conceptual clarity the child has gained after the regular classes which he or she must have attended. So, certain principles which a mentor, which an educator, which a teacher needs to follow while framing or say designing the questions. First is clarity, that sentences which are being framed should be very clear. Relevance, that is, it should be relevant to the curriculum, to the chapters, to the topics which has been recommended by the CBSE. Coming to the next, that it should be having a complete balance. Like if you are planning 5 questions in a test paper, they should not be all the toughest one, or they should not be to the easier side. There should be a complete balance between the moderate, between the challenging questions and the easy questions. It can be decided by the parallel teachers when you sit and discuss the blueprint of the question paper. It should be discussed and then it can be followed. Talking about the cognitive level, that this type of question should surely target to the higher order thinking skills of the child and not just rote memorization. Please take care. There can be certain distracted qualities also, like certain wrong options. Maybe you have framed the question in such a way where, like, assertion is wrong, quite possible. Second, that you have given the reason, but you have twisted and changed the reason to make it incorrect. Or third can be where the assertion is true, but the reason is false. A fourth option where the assertion is false, but the reason is true. So this way, an educator or mentor can take care that if 5 questions are there, the answer is not always A, but it can be sometimes B, sometimes C, or sometimes D. So, thank you, friends, for the session 1. Please feel free to fill the feedback form. Ask question on the comment section. Join and subscribe, and please support the channel Holistic Learning Portal. I'll be there. I'll be very happy to read your comments and see the channel grow. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Let's meet after 10 minutes. Thank you.